Now, Stephen Conroy, I could ask you about vapes, but I got to get to Matt Keane. We're here, of course, with Holly Hughes. I think he wants to desperately talk about vapes here. Now, so Stephen, so again, right now, imagine now. Let's go benefit of the doubt version, which is all I's, T's, all the rest of it, all above board. Then someone told the paper they've been talking about it for 5 weeks, which of course would be many weeks prior to him leaving the parliament, where his publicly stated reason was to go into the private sector. Someone's got to have a look at this, don't they, to make sure that it is above board? Because does anyone remember a Premier 90s New South Wales having to resign for, well, know your history, people?
Well, look, I'm not quite as much of a conspiracy theorist on this as you are, Paul. Firstly, it is, from my understanding, a part-time job. It's not a full-time job.
True.
So I would expect he would also pick up some work in the private sector as well. So I think that one may not be ready to be announced.
Right. So we're going to wait for the press release, and then it's true. You are the form tonight is unbelievable. Look, this is, virtuoso performance. This is magnificent. Look, he's going into the private sector. We just haven't heard about it yet. And then suddenly everything is retrofitted. That is one of the best I've ever heard from you. So game over. Topic done. So let's get to Holly. Really interesting today. See, Stephen knows. And that's why I love it.
I got nothing.
No one's going to respond. He's just watch the great man. He's holding on as tight as he possibly can. But we are on air, and he's delivering the live. Yeah, go for it, Holly.
Stephen, you need to go and counsel Fatima Payment, because you, mate, can hold a party line like nothing I've ever seen.
And look, this is unfair.
You are a star.
He's holding the line.
They need to bring you in.
Yep.
Mate, they need to bring you in, maybe like Bill Shorten's $640,000
discipline
two-year speechwriter, to teach the caucus how to hold the line, because you, mate, are a champion.
just well done.
Credit to you.
I love him. He's one of my favourite people. He really is in real life, as well as on the telly. All right, now let's get to this here.
I'm privileged to see it.
So, okay, Holly, serious for a moment here, which is, you know how people buy those little sort of tracking things they put into their bags and all the rest of it, right? Well, apparently there's some significant number, according to a survey out of New South Wales, where this stuff's being used to, frankly, track people, right, to go on to harass them, people who want to harass their partners. Now, okay, all of us think that's terrible. This technology is not going to disappear. So what are we supposed to do here? Because obviously we don't want to make it easier for creeps to go after people, but conversely, we can't pretend that things like GPS doesn't exist anymore.
No, and honestly, Paul, I wish I could sit here tonight and say, here's an answer for you.
Yeah,
because that
I'm
is
a big don't know.
Horrific. It is absolutely horrific. And, the people like you, Stephen, and I sitting here, this is not something that will cross our minds of something to do. And I think it's really hard for people who don't act in these absolutely despicable ways to actually comprehend what would someone ever think that this is an appropriate way to behave. And the fact that they're putting AirTags on their former partner's cars, and I mean, this is just, I wish I could sit here and say to you, we need to do this, or this is what needs to be done. But it is just abhorrent. And I think, the thing that upsets me when particularly murders of domestic violence happen, it's never, oh, we didn't know about it. It's always known to police. And maybe this is where it needs to be, that when they have digital devices, any of those things, perhaps if they are known to police as a domestic violence offender, because obviously these things are tracked on mobile phones, that perhaps there is some sort of review of the devices they have. But honestly, I mean, it is just awful.
Well, it's the thing. When people use mobile phones to intimidate people, or telephonic devices, all the rest of it, this should become part of that offence, all right?
Absolutely.
All right. Last one here, and Stephen, because you are not a member of the Democratic or Republican Party, you are free to speak your actual heart. Do you think the debate will actually happen on Thursday? Because Bannon says don't do it.
Yeah, look, I think Trump has more to lose by pulling out. Trump needs to reach out beyond just his pure MAGA base. I mean, we saw in the last election 4 years ago, he got a record vote, but he still lost by a significant margin in the overall vote and in key states. And if you looked at the Fox News poll recently, it said that he's in the independents, which is probably the group he needs to split even. Independents moving away from him. So I think he needs to try and be in the debate and try and win the debate or perform well in the debate so that he can cauterize a few of the independents and swing voters that have been moving away from him. So I think the risk for him to spit the dummy over a trivial argument that was was nothing to do with him directly would play a little worse for him than having a crack.
I completely agree. Guys, we're well and truly out of time, but that's probably the best show we've done this year or many years.